So Genesis, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
No, you're welcome. You've just come off stage and you were doing a great talk.
Thank
And then
you.
sort of at the start, and then somebody started playing music next to you. How was that when you were chatting?
Yeah, it went really well. I would say with like the music, it was a little bit hard to focus, but other than that, I think it went great. There was a lot of little kids in my audience, which I love that because I started really young, so it was amazing.
Brilliant. Yeah, you were like 10 years old and you were giving TED Talks. Is that right?
Yeah, when I was 10 was when I started, but activism I started when I was 6, so I was really little, and then vegan when I was 3, so like so young.
Wow. How did you get to be vegan at 3? Were you like just pointing at like meat and shaking your head, or?
Yeah, well, I went fully vegan when I was 6, but vegetarian when I was 3. So that's when I was just wondering like what I was eating, and I asked my mom, and then she told me how it was animals, and I just couldn't do it. Like that was devastating to me. I didn't think that people would eat animals because it just like they're the same as us, so why are we killing them? Why are we eating them? So that's when I ended up going vegetarian with my mom, and then that's when I was 3, then I figured out about the milk, and then that also shocked me because it's like, this isn't my mom's milk, so whose milk is this? And then she told me it was from mom cows and that I couldn't do it anymore, so then my whole family ended up going vegan.
Wow, that's amazing. So
Thank you.
I guess once you make that connection, they're like, oh yeah, she's got a point. Why are we doing this?
Yeah.
Nice. I mean, you've done so much. I mean, how old are you now? Are you
I'm 17.
17? Wow, okay. I had done nothing at 17. But that's great. You've done so much. I mean, recently you actually asked the Pope, right, if he'd go vegan for Lent. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so when I was 12 was when I did it. It was the $1 Million Vegan campaign. So we asked the Pope to go vegan for Lent, and that was like, we wanted to do something really bold because it's really important, and that's one way to get the vegan message out there, is because if the Pope was to go vegan for Lent, then a lot of people would follow in his footsteps because they look up to him. So that's really why we did the campaign. But it didn't end up going through. He didn't end up going vegan for Lent, but a lot of people did go vegan for Lent still with this campaign, and then I would get so many messages saying like, I went vegan for Lent and I'm still vegan today, and that was what we really wanted. That was like one of the big things that we wanted, was just for people to go vegan and for it to get into the mainstream media about going vegan. So it was a huge campaign, and it was a big success because people did end up going vegan, and we did get a response from the Pope, and he said like he's so grateful for my activism and that it's amazing work and to keep it up. But that was it.
That's great. I mean,
Yeah.
wow. Taking on the Pope is that's
Yeah.
huge. I mean, does it get bigger than that?
Yeah.
Maybe McDonald's. But that's probably heresy. Shouldn't say that. Now, I remember, like, I think a few years ago, I think you were about 12 at the time, you interviewed the late Benjamin Zephaniah. Do you remember that? That was,
Yeah, the poet.
Yeah.
I did that. That was also a part of the $1 Million Vegan because we were traveling and we would do interviews with people who were vegan or influencers or the poet, and he was amazing to me. I really loved that interview. And we had really similar stories about going vegan from a young age, so it was really amazing talking to him.
Yeah, he's great. I remember, I think in the interview, he said to you, because you were quite young, and he was like, you're going to inherit the earth one day. And I just wonder, like, do you ever think back on that? And, you know, when you were 12, hearing that, to being 17 now, obviously you're a lot older, and, you know, do you think about that and what that kind of means to you?
Yeah, I think that's something that I think about all the time, because I think that a lot of people forget that this is an earth for everyone to share. This isn't just an earth that everyone gets that's disposable, like a trash can that anyone else gets, like that we get a brand new one, because we don't. So it's really important to keep that in mind, and I think that was really that really stuck with me, was that this is everyone's earth. And when he said that, it was something that was really powerful and I still think about.
Yeah, I remember that in the interview, and I thought, oh, that's a really sweet thing to say, but also, yeah, it's quite powerful, right? Because I guess, yeah, we're the future generations. So in terms of all of your activism, because it's vast and you've done so much, what are the kind of standout ones to you that, you know, you're really, really proud of?
I would say the action that I'm taking right now, which is Genesis v EPA. So that's the Environmental Protection Agency, and it's me along with 17 other youth from California. So we're suing the Environmental Protection Agency for climate change because they have robbed our future. Like, we have to worry about this every single day. A lot of the plaintiffs in the lawsuit have lost their homes, or they can tell by the sky when a wildfire will come, and that's something that kids shouldn't have to do. Like, we should be playing with our friends, we should be doing things that teenagers do, but instead we're focusing on the climate crisis. So what we're asking with this lawsuit is that they phase out fossil fuel climate pollution by 2050, because that's what scientists say is necessary. So that's why we're doing this lawsuit, and I would say that that's like the biggest action right now that I'm really proud of, because this will make huge change for us and for other generations, because we really need to take these bold actions right now, because we haven't been seeing anything done with our leaders, so we have to take the action ourselves.
Oh, that's amazing. Let's be honest. That's huge.
Thank you.
Do you think it should be earlier to vote, you know, and for younger people? Because I often think about this, and it's not a dig at old people, but a lot of the time they've retired, you know, they've had their careers, they've got their money, they've accumulated their wealth, but you know, they're voting for something 4 years down the line where they might not be able to see it, but you might be 15 or 16 years old and you're kind of denied that chance, but you're going to be an adult, a working adult, or at university at that point, right? So I just wonder, do you think that should be something that's taken into consideration?
Yeah, I do. I think that the voting age, like, just what you were saying with people who are able to vote, like, most of them have already had their future. They know what their future is going to look like, but we don't. So I think that that's something that it's crazy, because you have to be 18 and you can pre-register to vote, but you're not actually voting. But these are things that is going to impact us and everyone and future generations to come. So it's so important to keep that in mind. And I think that it's really sad that, and that's one of the reasons why we're doing this lawsuit, because we don't have as many constitutional rights as everyone else does. So we can't vote, we can't do things like that. So that's why we're doing this lawsuit. But I think that it's such a shame that we can't vote, because these are things that are impacting us. So it's really disappointing.
How would you feel if, let's say, I don't know who the future president of the Americas is going to be. Who knows? However, how would you feel if they kind of invited you to talk to them? Do you think that that would be something that you'd be happy to do in terms of like climate change and policy? Would you, you know, even though you're 17, do you think that actually that's the kind of thing that they might need in government?
Yeah, I think that we need more youth, and we need more youth voices, because we have a different perspective than they do, because we're younger. And I think youth have so much to bring to the table, because we have really bold and bright ideas. So I think it's really important to listen to youth and hear what they have to say. And I think that would be something that I would be open to, because we really need to listen to what they have to say.
I agree. I spoke to Chris Packham the other day, and he was talking about how young people are great because they're not that jaded, thankfully, yet, I hope. And I hope you're not, are you?
No.
Okay, good. And he was saying that, you know, we have to allow for them to make mistakes, and that's fine, but also some people now that are older won't make the big policy changes that we need because they don't want to be held into account for that, or they're too scared to do it, whereas younger people will kind of do what they think is right without being kind of subject to like other people's influence and things. So yeah, I was just thinking about that, because I think it's great, and if you're representing a country, you should probably represent all age groups, you know. It's not just for your set people. So yeah. So Genesis, you've expanded, haven't you? You're moving into Uganda now, is that right?
Yeah, that's where we have some chapters now.
Nice. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so we have a chapter out there now with a lot of the youth out there, and they'll do things like hold up posters, or they'll eat plant-based meals, which is something that I think is so amazing and so powerful, because these are these youth that they live so far from me, but they're still getting the vegan message, and they've heard about Youth Climate Save, which I think is huge, because I'm from the US, so I have reached so many youth from so many different countries that I didn't even know knew of me. So I think it's just really amazing, and I think that that's one of like the reasons that I started Youth Climate Save, was just to get youth involved and get them passionate and getting them to know like your voice does matter. And I think that that's really showing with our new chapter.
Oh, that's brilliant. How do you find the time to do all this?
I would say, well, I'm homeschooled, so it's a lot easier than going to school, because then like you have to go to school, you have to do all of your homework, and of course I still have to do these things online, but I get to pick when I start and what time, and I get to like pause and then finish it later. So that has been one of my ways of just like continuing with my activism, because it's so much, but that has been something that's really helped me just being homeschooled. And then also I would say just like really pacing myself and saying no to like events or speaking things, because if I was to say yes to everything, like I would be constantly gone. So I think that that's like another way. It's just like really pacing myself in what I'm doing.
That's great. You've got loads of boundaries already.
Mm-hmm.
Amazing.
Thank you.
I have to go to counselling for that. That's amazing. Good.
Thank you.
That's all right. Now, you're from the States, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
So you've come over to the UK, and I know that I was speaking to your mum earlier, and she was saying that you've been trying to get over for a couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
How is it like to kind of walk around, and how do you find the UK versus the US?
Oh, it's amazing out here. I love it. I love everything out here. I love, especially the vegan options out here is like incredible. There's so many that you guys have that we haven't gotten yet. I hope that we get more like you guys get, because it's amazing. I love it out here. I also love like how green it is and the nature, like, because I'm a big nature girl, so this is like the best. I love it.
It's great when you go like on holiday, and it's great because you're on holiday, but you come back and you're like, it is really green here.
Yeah,
and you take it for granted. It's so beautiful.
I love it.
Great. So what have you got next? You're off to Oxford, is that right?
Yes, just to walk around for a little bit and experience it.
Amazing. And so apart from everything you're already doing in Uganda, anything for the next 12 months that you're going to be concentrating on?
Just the lawsuit right now. This has been like the biggest thing. Yeah, because we've gotten pushback from the EPA of just not wanting to get this to go through, because we would be phasing out fossil fuels, which is huge. Wow. And of course that's something that they probably don't want. So just that right now, just like fighting back. And we have really good lawyers. It's with Youth versus Gov. So they are amazing, and they really fight for us and have our voices heard and know what we're saying, and they really listen to us. I love it. So that's been like my main thing, and also just like continuing with Youth Climate Save and doing more in-person actions like beach cleanups, and we'll do tablings at concerts, which I really love. It's a lot of fun, and we get to meet a lot of new people. So yeah, mainly just those two.
Amazing. Do you ever get frightened, going up against a huge industry like the fossil fuel industry? Mm-hmm. Do you ever like get a bit afraid about that? Or?
Yeah, I do. I try not to think about it too much. Also, like, I'm Indigenous, so my ancestors are like so powerful, and they're warriors. Like, they fought for what they believe was right. They fought for themselves, and I think that really shows in me, because I really try to keep that in mind of like my ancestors and the people who came before me, and just know like they were able to fight their battles, so can I, and just continue with it, because we're doing the right thing. We're doing something for us and for the future generations, so it's just really important.
That's amazing.
Thank you.
Oh, well, thank you so much for chatting to us today, Genesis. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you.
Yeah. If you're the future, then I am. Let's go. Bring it on.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.